This is the iGO Deluxe Single Chamber 10.8x33 paddleboard by Starboard, and it is one of their best-selling boards. I've personally been using this board now for the past few months, and it truly has changed my opinion on inflatable paddleboards. So today I'm going to take the time to share with you some of my thoughts and opinions on this board to help you decide if it's the right board for you. Let's get started. So first off, let's talk about the design of this paddleboard. And there are really three components that really make up the quality design of this board. The first component is our welded rail technology, which actually creates a much stronger bond on all the seams versus glue and is much better for the environment. The second component is a linear drop stitch, which actually helps the board with its rigidity and stiffness, giving you a much stronger, more rigid board to stand on in the water. The last component is their 200D galvanized rails, which also adds to the strength and overall stiffness of the board. Starting off from the front of the board here, we have their bungee strap system, which is super convenient for putting any kind of bags into, or even just your sandals for a short paddle. Moving back from there, you have your single handle in the middle of the board here for carrying it on and off the water. It's a great placement. I feel like I get good grip with my hand underneath it for carrying it in and out of the water. Located just beside this handle here, we actually have our two D-rings, which are for placing the shoulder strap carry system that comes with your inflatable paddleboard. This is super convenient for carrying the paddleboard across long stretches of beaches from your vehicle or in and out of the water versus having to carry the whole board just in your hand. Moving to the back of the board, you actually have your kick pad, which is great for using in any kind of surf or for doing any kind of pivot turning in the water. This serves as a great reference point to know where you're at with your foot at all times without having to look down at the board. Located right behind this is the carry handle to drag the board into the water or on the beach if you need to do this in certain situations. And moving to the very back of the board, we have our nozzle connection for inflating the paddleboard with your pump, as well as the D-ring to hook up your leash to be safe on the water. Moving to the bottom side of the board, we have our 8-inch fin, which comes with the paddleboard, as well as a hand-turned screw to fasten the fin down as well. It's a very convenient system to use, and I find no problem installing this fin every time I use the board on the water. Then lastly, located at the very front of the paddleboard, you have your final D-ring, which you can use for anchoring the paddleboard while you're out in the water, or for any of the purposes you want to use it for. All right, let's talk about the durability of this board. In all honesty, I find this board to be incredibly durable. So much so, I worry less about damaging this board versus my other hard paddle boards. I can literally throw this board across the ground and not worry about damaging it at all. This makes it great for families or for first-time paddlers because you can literally drag it, drop it, or set it on hard surfaces and not worry about damaging your board at all. Literally, the only two things to be cautious of when using this paddleboard are avoiding sharp surfaces or objects which can puncture the board. But even saying that, this board is incredibly rigid and hard that really is going to take a very sharp object to puncture this paddleboard, but still to be cautious of those sharp objects. The other thing to be cautious of with this paddleboard is if you're at a hot beach in direct sunlight for a long period of time, the paddleboard can slowly inflate with the pressure of the hot sun, causing it to damage the board. So you simply just need to keep an eye on the pressure to make sure it's staying below 18 psi to make sure you're protecting your paddleboard and not going to cause any further damage to it. Now when it comes to usability of this paddleboard, it really is a great board for a wide range of people. The first thing when it comes to stability is I do find it to be a very stable paddleboard to be on. I wouldn't go as far as to say it's the most stable board I've ever been on, but overall I do feel confident paddling this board around on the water. It's also a very light paddleboard, making it very convenient to carry across the beach or even easier to manage in the water. Now Starboard does say this paddleboard can be used for people up to 120 kilograms, but in all honesty, in my personal opinion, if you're over 90 kilograms, I would recommend looking into a bigger size board. This board is just small enough that if you're a larger person and if you're new to stand-up paddleboarding, you may find it a little bit more difficult to balance on this paddleboard. When it comes to the performance of this paddleboard, it does perform pretty well overall. It does have some flex because it is an inflatable paddleboard at the end of the day, but when I'm paddling, I do feel like I have a solid paddleboard below my feet and I don't really notice the flex that much. Also, having the kick pad at the very back of the board makes it easier to perform your pivot turns in the water, and I find no problem doing that. Now because this board is only 10 foot 8 inches long, it doesn't really have the best glide. I do find myself having to paddle harder and longer in order to keep my speed up because of that shorter glide period. Now lastly, let's talk about the price of this board. And in most retail stores, you can find this board to be priced around the 800 USD mark, which in my opinion, for the quality board that you're getting, is a pretty fair price. But be sure to reach out to your local dealer to see what kind of prices they can offer you on this paddleboard. At the end of the day, this is a great quality paddleboard, and I would definitely recommend it for families or for people looking to do just a simple day paddle on the water. Yes, it's not the highest performing paddleboard, but for just people who want to go out and have a fun time on the water, it is a great board for that purpose. So I hope you guys enjoyed today's video, and I hope it helped you decide whether this paddleboard is right for you or not. If you wanted to find out more content like this, be sure to go check out my channel for more videos about stand-up paddleboarding. Give this video a like, and I'll catch you guys in the next video. Hasta luego, amigos.